Good afternoon. First of all, thank you all in the chat for the very warm welcomes. And Celie, I see you, baby, because I am the American dream. Big sexy Marcus Wiggins, if you will. Now let's get into this. We're going to talk about the family today and that first and only, unfortunately, album from 1985. And the thing that I bring to the table here is I was there back then. I had a lady friend who I was seeing before I started college, and she was a Prince, fiend like all of us. And before I get to the album, I need to get us to how the family came about. All right, let's get in the old Wayback Machine here. Let's go back actually to the end of 1982, where Prince had done an opening slot for the Rolling Stones. We all know how that went. Not good. And he decided, I'm done being opening act. So he takes his troop of people, Vanity Six and the Time, and they do the Triple Threat tour in support of 1999. And that album really broke him as a major player. And all was thought to be well in Prince land. Unfortunately, it wasn't. There was opportunities abound. One of them was to do a film, and the film was, as we all know, Purple Rain. And before the filming got started, Vanity stepped out of the project. Prince said, fine, we'll keep it moving. He plugs an Apollonia. And then we have problem number two, which was a serious problem. As we all know, Jimmy and Terry were fired from the band for missing a recording session. No, they were at a recording session. I'm nervous. They were at a recording session in Atlanta, I believe, with SOS Band and got snowed in and missed a flight to a concert. They were fired. In solidarity, Monty Moyer left with them. And so Prince is like, train's got to keep moving. And so now, without the benefit of digital media and social media like we have now, the fans, myself included, we didn't know any of this was happening. All we knew, there were rumors about a Prince film coming out. And so we're just keeping that thing going and all this. When Dove's Cry gets released, film starts to, make its noise. A lot of us, again, myself included, we all go see it. And when we see the time, we see, well, there's Jerome, there's Jesse, and there's Jelly Bean. Who are these other dudes? We didn't know. There was no announcement made that I was aware of, but we just kept it rolling. And so the movie does what it did, becomes a tremendous hit, and we're all anticipating for the Purple Rain tour to see the time in the new configuration, so have you. Then the other shoe fell. Morris quits the band. Problem. Bigger problem, Jesse quits the band. And Jesse took two of the new guys in the band with him, keyboardist Marc Cardenas and bass player Jerry Hubbard. So Jesse's doing the review, Morris is doing Oak Tree, and Prince is looking at the remaining members of what was the time, and he's like, well, now what? Never one to risk run from a challenge. Prince came up with something new. He decided that he wanted that Duran Duran money, and he's going to build something and put Paul from that time, Mark II, out front. So Prince puts together Paul, Prince's lady friend at the time, Susanna, Eric Leeds, Jelly Bean, and Jerome. Now, and as the family, as we knew it initially. And then what happened was the word was coming out that there was a new band coming from Prince, called the family. Time broke up, blah, blah, blah. But nobody saw anything. We didn't know. Until right around June of 85, Screams of Passion comes out, both the single and the video. Now, when we see the video, the first thing that caught my attention, now, again, we all know Eric Leeds now. At that time, the only time we had seen Eric Leeds was, maybe on the Purple Rain tour and in a couple of the concert videos. We didn't know who he was. And as you see the video, you see the band doing their thing. I'm like, well, there's Jelly Bean and there's Jerome, and Who's the woman? We'll get back to her. And there's St. Paul out front. Who's the skinny guy with the bass? That was Eric Leeds, miming the bass, as he said on Friday's presentation. And we're like, all right, kind, let's just keep going with it. And as you look at the the visuals in the video, we have now Prince had already given us the time, and they had the suits going on, particularly Morris and that loud Presley jacket that he used to rock. Then he went another way with the Vanity 6 and the lingerie. Thank you. And so with this one, he went a different direction with the silk pajamas, which was very reminiscent of Playboy After Dark. Now I'm dating myself with that reference. You young people look that up. And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Let's see what we can do here. I enjoyed the song, and I'm seeing this woman. I'm like, well, she looks familiar. And I didn't know that Wendy had a twin sister. My lady friend at the time was saying, yeah, that's Wendy's sister, Susanna. I'm like, it is? Then the album comes out, and you see the pictures of the album, and I see Susanna. I'm like, damn, girl, how you doing? I digress. And as we got into the album properly, it was clear that Prince had done all the music like he always did and gave Paul the guide vocal. And Paul did a great job. I don't care what anybody says. Paul did a great job. And when you listen to the song Screams of Passion, there's this one portion where she screams and he's all, not so loud, baby. I love that. I love the little humorous insertions there when people do things like this. And so the album's coming out, and as we get into the music, with side one, Screams of Passion, or no, side one was, I'm getting to that. I know. It was High Fashion. Kind of a jazzy flavor to it. Then you go into Mutiny, which really, really, the studio version does not capture the blistering funk of that song. It just doesn't. Screams of Passion, our lead single. Yes, an instrumental. We'll get back to that. And then River Run Dry. The second side, Suzanne, Nothing Compares to You. And let me go further. I'm sorry, River Run Dry leads off the second side, then followed by Nothing Compares to You. And I'm going to say for the record right here and right now, that is the definitive version of this song. A lot of people say Rosie Gaines and Prince's version is better. I can respect that. Some people will say that other version is better. I disagree vehemently. This is the version that captures it to me because, again, I was there. It was so soulfully done. Paul just doesn't get enough respect on it. He did the damn thing. After that was another instrumental, Susanna's Pajamas, and we closed out with Desire. Yes, and Susanna's Pajamas, to me at least, had the beginnings of what would eventually become Madhouse because it had that type of jazz vibe to it. And you didn't get a lot of interviews with this, and not a lot of media. I mean, there was really nothing happening because, again, we in Princeland, we don't know. We're just following the music. It was mentioned earlier today in the presentation before this one that the band actually played a show at First Avenue, which they did do, which I have seen, and they were good. The band filled out with Miko on guitar. I forget who the cat was on the bass, but the band definitely filled out, and they could play. They could play very well. Susanna could sing. Paul had a good stage presence up front. This could have been something, but we just never knew because during that time in the late 85 and in the early 86, Prince and Susanna took off to Nice to do Under the Cherry Moon. And at that point, the band is again in limbo. Paul decides, well, now what? He doesn't want to hang around. He goes to sign with MCA, and that was that. Jellybean and Jerome went back to work with The Time again. Prince on the parade tour breaks up the Revolution. I believe he broke up with Susanna at the same time. So that was that. But and we'll get back to the music in a moment. But one of the good things about the aftermath of the family is we had a lot of things come out of that. We had Sign of the Times come out of that. We had Wendy and Lisa's first album come out of that with Susanna being involved. We have Jimmy and Terry. Why do I keep saying Jimmy and Terry? We have Jellybean and Jerome reuniting with Jimmy and Terry doing some things. We have St. Paul's first album that came out on MCA and had the song, the lead single was Rich Man, but the song on the album was Intimacy, and it was just, wow. To this day, that is the cut. And it's almost like I remember seeing this in The Godfather, I believe. There was one pope who we never knew. And with the family project, we never knew. We never had opportunity to do what we did, what could have been. Paul left for, I hear, religious reasons. He didn't like some of the content. I don't know, but he left. And whatever happened with the revolution happened, don't know. I'm not going to speculate. But once those two dominoes fell, that was kind of it. And I think we were all cheated of an opportunity to see something really grow and develop because, as you and I all know, it was on the Paisley Park label. And at that time, Prince and Paisley Park artists had the eye of Warner Brothers. So they were going to get pushed. They were going to get support. They're going to get what they needed. But however, unfortunately, things went the way they did. And all we have is an album. Now, let's go back into 1990. I'm in college and we're all doing our thing. And Sinead O'Connor comes out with this, with the song. Now, I knew who she was. I had heard that one song she did with, oh, help me out. The rapper, MC Light. Whew, a little brain image there. So I was familiar of her, and then someone called me and said, "Oh, you got to hear this song, Nothing Compares to You, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "I've heard this song. I heard the song 5 years ago." "Oh, no, no, this is Sinead's song." Yeah, yeah. And so I had to go around straightening people out, saying Sinead didn't write shit. This is a cover. She stole it from Prince. Yeah, I said it. And fortunately, from a publishing standpoint, the song was a tremendous hit. And I believe said that song paid for a house, which is all good. I never cared for her version, ever, and that's just, personal preference. Some people dig it, some people don't. Thank you in the chat for coming up with MC Light. I saw that. And again, it was a great source of income for Prince. That's how I look at it. But to me, when I hear that song, I hear Paul singing it, you know. All the try that again. All the flowers that you planted, mama. There you go. Again, he had that soulful thing that he got from Prince in the guide vocal. And then I hear, Sinead's screeching. No, no. After that, I hear Rosie do her thing with it. And Rosie did the damn thing. Rosie put her foot in it as well. But to me, the definitive version is St. Paul. Now, let us go back a little further. Now, let's go back to the visuals here. I don't know what sparked the silk pajamas. I liked it, but I don't know what sparked it because as we all go back in our Wayback Machines and we go on the Purple Rain tour, fellas, talking to you, we get to the concert and we see nothing but just women as far as I can see in lingerie. Yes. And guys, especially on the time portions of the 1999 tour, guys had the baggies going. I know I had mine on. Zip, snap, and drop. That's just how it was. And so he went a different vibe with this, which would have been interesting to see because had the the family toured, guarantee there would have been people showed up like they're going to a pajama party. With the silk pajamas on and the sexy robes and all that. But again, we missed out on that portion here. Let me pop into the chat here. I'm seeing a lot of things going on here. Da, 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 da. Yes, TP. I agree completely. That was Prince reclaiming it when he sang it with Rosie. And Tammy Sharp, I have a message for you. I'll get to you in a moment. You're going to love this. But yes, I do agree with you, though. The pajamas does stem from the old glamorous film noir, which was kind of evident at the beginning of the video because Susanna had the issue of Life magazine. I hadn't seen Life magazine in 1,000 years. And she's reading that thing, sitting in the big book in the big black and white setting. It looked great. It looked great. You know. Now as far as the music, I don't believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, other than the actual album itself, I don't believe there's any like vault tracks they did. I think I take that back. There's Misunderstood and there's something else. I forget what it was called, but there's definitely another one. So if anybody want to chime in on that and help me out with that, I would appreciate it. But I don't believe it's more than two. And that is unfortunate. Now, years later, the family of their own volition got back together to do some music. They go to Prince and say, look, we want to do the family. And he said no, of course, because he owns the name. Just like he told the time, no, they couldn't use it either, which I can see both sides of that conundrum. When he did the time on studio was him and, to an extent, Jesse and Morris. That was it. The family was all him. So when the label would have put out a second, quote, family album, they're not getting Prince. And so he didn't want his name associated for whatever reason. And they took it and kept it in stride and went ahead and did F Deluxe. And I have that album and I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. I think the people in that band have oodles of talent. And now I'm hearing they're going to go back out again as the family. I don't know if they will readopt the silk pajamas again because let's face it, we all get older. And certain looks are not for people of our age group. I'll just leave it at that. So whatever they do, I'm gonna support it. I'm sure a lot of us are too. Feline, thank you. Feline was the other song. A lot of us are going to support it as well. Thank you all for joining me on my maiden voyage out here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting the hearts. Oh, it's so cool. But before I forget, I did mention Tammy. This is for you. Or this week, my Lenny Kravitz 1967 Gibson reissue Flying V black with the gold trim arrived. It is number 148 out of the initial 1,200. Oh, yeah. I know you're digging that. So please, everyone else, thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting the symposium. I love being here. Sheila, I'm going to see you. And everyone, enjoy the rest of your day.